Hi, this is Dr. Kathy McGuire of Creative Edge Focusing, and you can sign up for my free complete e-course on Carl Rogers' empathic listening and Eugene Gendlin's experiential focusing at my website, www.cefocusing.com. Today, we're going to do part one of a sequence of exercises which help you use Gendlin's focusing to resolve interpersonal conflicts. And initially, we're going to just work on this internally. It has nothing to do with sharing your material with any other person. So you're just going to pay attention to how you feel about certain interpersonal situations. And today I'm going to ask you to set aside 20 minutes and to have a paper and pen handy. You're going to be taking some notes. And I'm going to ask you, or I'm going to walk you through getting the felt sense of a particular situation and a particular person. And we will also work on naming some of the positive and negative attributes of that person to help you stay grounded. So I will walk you through the first situation and person, and then I will leave you to go on with 3 to 5 additional people and situations where you just know you have an interpersonal problem. And different from our usual way of trying to deal with things, you're not going to try to solve this in your head, thinking about it and rumming, going back and forth. I'm going to help you to pay attention to your bodily felt sense of being in the situation with that person. And you're going to just try to find some words or an image to just capture how it feels in your body to be with the person. And in part 2, another video, I will help you use Gendlin's total focusing process to work through these situations in a self-help way. But for today, we're just going to bring our attention to the internal feeling of some of our interpersonal conflicts. So I also will say, just to keep yourself safe, I do not suggest starting with the worst conflicts you have in your life. I specifically ask you not to bring in some childhood sexual abuser of someone of that stature for this simple self-help exercise, because you might catapult yourself into more memories than you want to handle by yourself in this self-help context. So just choose your kind of everyday interpersonal tensions. So you stop and get a paper and pencil or pen, and make sure you have about 20 minutes, and we'll begin. So first, I ask you to make sure you have that paper and pencil, and you're going to work with the bodily feel of people and situations. And so the first, take the first person and situation and just write that down. And if you want to stop right now and write down 3 to 5 persons and situations, you can certainly take the time to do that. Just pause me while you make your list. But let's start with one person and one specific situation. So I invite you to close your eyes and go inside by beginning to follow your breathing. This is a good way to kind of bring your attention out of your outer world and out of your head and in touch with your body, which is where new answers are. So close your eyes and just pay attention to your breathing, just noticing the breath going in and out, in and out, in and out. And make sure you're comfortable in your chair. Loosen any clothing that's too tight. Move around until you are comfortable, maybe with your feet planted on the ground. And breathing. And now I ask you to bring to mind the first person on your list that you have difficulty with. Keeping your eyes closed if you can. And I want you to hold an image of that person in your mind, and I want you to experience how you feel about that person in your body. Imagine yourself in a situation with that person. Not what you think about them with your head, but the whole bodily feel, especially in the center of your body, of being in that situation with that person. And I ask you to stop and see if you can list at least 3 positive attributes about that person from your point of view, and just stop and write those down. Just take a moment. 3 things that you could name as positive about that person. And now I would also like you to take a moment to keep the person's image in your mind and write down 3 negative attributes that you give to that person. 3 things that you think about or experience as negative attributes. So take your time being with the image of that person and naming 3 things that bother you or that you think are negative attributes. And take a moment to write those down as well. And now I want you to imagine being in a situation with that person, which brings up a strong bodily reaction in you, a big, strong discomfort or anger or dissatisfaction. So bring that situation to mind, one particular bad interaction with that person. And now try to notice what is the bodily felt sense, the whole intuitive feel you get, especially in the center of your body, when you are in that situation with that person. Again, not answering with what you already know in your head, but checking especially in the center of your body. What's the whole unclear feel? of interacting with that person. And for example, what comes to me with my person and my situation is that I notice my whole body is like just immediately tensing up, waiting for some kind of a catastrophe, just incredibly anxious, waiting for some kind of bad news. So see what words or images would come to capture your feel of being around your problematic person. And now, take a moment to write down that specific situation if you haven't, and also the handle words or images that you've come up with for the bodily felt sense of being there. So the words or images or even a drawing of how it feels to be in their presence. And you're writing that down. You're not going to go further with Gendlin's focusing on it today. You'll do that if you check into part 2. And now you've walked through it with one person, one situation. And I invite you to do the same exercise with 3 to 5 other unresolved interpersonal situations and problematic people. So you'll just walk yourself through the same exercise, writing down the person and the situation, bringing an image of the person to your mind, seeing how your body feels around the person, coming up with 3 positive attributes and then 3 negative attributes that you give to that person and writing those down, bringing up a specific situation with that person where you feel that bodily discomfort, noticing how you feel in your body when you imagine being around that person, and taking time to be with that bodily felt sense, and then looking for some words or an image or even a drawing that can capture the bodily feel of that situation. And write it all down. You'll end up with 3 to 5 different interpersonal situations, and you can work through them one by one when you learn the complete focusing exercise in part 2. And when you're done, or anywhere along the line, if you feel like you're kind of stirred up and you need to just clear your mental field, you can come back into the room with what we call the present time exercise, where you would open your eyes, decide on a particular shape or color that you might find in your room, and then just spend a couple of minutes focusing outward, looking for instance, every rectangle in your room and naming it. And by the time you've done that, hopefully you'll be back in present time and be able to go on with your day. So thank you for your attention. Check out the website at www.cefocusing.com. Subscribe to this channel, especially so that you can get to part 2 and other videos that will be about how to resolve interpersonal conflicts using Gendlin's focusing. And thank you for your attention today.